Hey YouTube, what is going on? I just want to start this video by saying thank you guys so much for the support lately. I'm glad that for the most part everything's working for everyone and you're enjoying the content so far. I said 200 likes and I would reveal some of the input delay reduction secrets that I know, things that I've learned from the internet and from other people's YouTube videos, the ones that I know that work and they won't damage your PC. I will always recommend to system restore before you change anything. Um, by going into system, advanced system settings, system protection, create, type in your restore point. So it creates a restore point and boom, now you're good. So now if something did go wrong, you can always revert it. But again, these are things that I've done and other people have done, and it really works to help reduce input latency for Fortnite or any game, really. So we're gonna hop right into it. I've created a folder. It should be down in the description. It's a Google Drive link with all of the files that we'll be using for today. Okay, I wanted to add this to the beginning of the video before we started any of the optimizations to tell you that the Nvidia driver 1.41 is the best for Fortnite. It has the lowest input delay. I know a lot of people are on it, so I'm going to put the time on the screen right now to where to skip to if you're already on that driver, because you don't need to do these steps, but I want to walk through how to uninstall your Nvidia driver and reinstall it. But you will have to redo the display scaling if you already did that, so just keep that in mind, that if you don't want to go through that again, then don't do this step either. So we're going to do the display driver uninstaller, which I have in this folder here. So you want to run it in safe mode, but I'm going to show it on this so you can see what it looks like. See, it tells you to run in safe mode. So what you do is you go to your GPU, Nvidia, and then clean and restart. It's that simple. And how you get into safe mode is you right click on the start, you go to shutdown or sign out, you hold down shift and you click restart. And now when you're in the restart, there's a series that's going to happen, and it's going to go, let me type it in the notepad here for you guys of what to click on. So you're going to click on troubleshoot, then advanced startup. Jeez, I can't spell. Then you're going to go to restart. Then when it restarts, you're going to want to use enable safe mode with networking. So that's the order of how you want to go into safe mode before you run the display driver uninstaller. So I already ran it before I started recording. So I'm going to show you what to do when you start over here. So you're going to go to Google, you're going to type in Nvidia driver 441.41. It'll usually be the first link. Make sure that it is, make sure that it is compatible with your driver that you have. Make sure you see it in here. This is mine right here, 2070 Super. Click download. Okay, so now once you get to this screen, you're going to want to, if you use the Nvidia recording, download the GeForce Experience. Otherwise, just do the graphics driver, agree and continue, use custom, next, perform a clean installation. And now the only thing you want to download is the graphics driver and the physics software. Click next and install. Okay, so now after it installs, this is what I wanted to go over with you guys. That's important, is the Nvidia control panel here. So there's a bunch of settings. Obviously the one we already talked about before is no scaling display. We got that. G-Sync For my monitor itself, it works better if you keep G-Sync on, but don't actually use it for the game. The monitor itself runs better. I have a FreeSync monitor, and it runs better if you have FreeSync on. So I do it for windowed and full screen mode. Set up multiple displays, obviously, if you have those. If you use any type of stretch res, I find it much better quality if you just use the video player settings for both of these. Digital audio is nothing to change, nothing here. Rotate display, nothing. Color settings, the same type of thing. Let other applications control the settings instead of the Nvidia driver. Because we want to be using display scaling, we don't want the Nvidia driver to be doing extra work. We just want to input that picture as fast as possible. Same thing here. Use default color settings. Now the processor and the physics X, we want to use our GPU. Makes it a lot easier if you do this for the 3D settings. Set it to set it to performance, and then go back to advanced 3D image settings. And now in the 3D settings, we want to add a program. Oh, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Browse. Find Fortnite, so cdisk, program files, Epic Games, Fortnite, Fortnite game, binaries, Win64, and then the big file here with just shipping after it. Open that up. Make sure you do this, even though I'm not going to actually change. I'm going to keep everything in the global settings. So you can just follow me quick here and pause the video at any point. So we want off, 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 off. Keep this on all. DSR off. I'm going to come back to this at the end. Monitor technology, I'm going to keep this on G-Sync compatible. Off. Select your GPU. Power management mode, you want to make sure you have maximum performance. Highest available refresh rate. Shader cache on, allow. Texture filtering, we want on high performance. Keep this on. Thread optimization, we want on. Triple buffering off, vertical sync off, and click apply. So now these are the next two things I want to go over. So if you really enjoy G-Sync and you really feel like it doesn't add that much input delay for you, go ahead and keep it on for the game. But for me, I can tell a huge difference when I run a fixed refresh rate. So I always change Fortnite to a fixed refresh rate, which makes you have to change this to highest available under preferred refresh rate, and then turn vertical sync off. Okay, so now the thing I want to talk about is low latency mode. So when you're in Fortnite, and I'm not talking about when you're in creative and you're looking up at the sky, but if you're in an actual game and you're running across the middle of the map and you can hold your FPS at the cap of your monitor, so like for me 240, my FPS stays at 240. I'm not at like 230 when I'm out in the open, or 200 or 180. Same thing if you have a 144 hertz monitor. If you can hold that FPS without having 100% GPU usage, and an easy way to check is by going into your task manager, and you could just run Fortnite in a windowed mode and go into like a public match and keep this open. If you're not over 80% in your GPU usage when you're just in a normal game, keep low latency mode off. When low latency mode's on with the 1, it limits your max pre-rendered frames to 1. It creates hitches in the game when you're not above that, like it's actually like 95% or 90% GPU usage is when it really kicks in. But if you keep it off, it's doing the same thing as when you have it on, except it's not limiting the GPU's usage at all. It makes the game run much smoother, especially in like early game, mid game, and late game. I don't notice anything because Fortnite servers are just awful sometimes if it's a stack lobby. So I highly recommend, because Fortnite is CPU intensive, to keep this off unless you're getting a high GPU usage when you're playing Fortnite. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the rest of the video. I'm gonna try to do it so you only have to restart your PC one time. That way you can do it at the end and then load into Fortnite for everything. First off, we're gonna start off with a latency monitor to show how much latency you have on your PC. So that is this file right here, latencymon.lnk. So when you press play, it tests your system for you to see how many milliseconds everything's running on. Right when you first start it, sometimes you'll get like high for the DirectX graphics kernel or other things. But what you really want to see is when you go into stats, you want a low number here, and a low number here. Obviously, you want to keep these the highest measured low. If you're getting like 100 microseconds, then that's a problem. And my best advice is to go into the driver page here, and you'll see like this time will be, say, 10 milliseconds. To Google either the driver name here or the description name with latency monitor high execution milliseconds, and you'll figure out there's a lot of information out there of like certain things that might be wrong with your driver. You might have to re-update your Nvidia driver, just re-download the same one again, just different things like that. But one of the things that I've found that really helps is using the interrupt affinity policy tool right here. So you download it. I already have it on my PC though. If you download it and you can't find it, I'm pretty sure it goes to C drive, program files times 86, Microsoft Corporation, interrupt affinity policy tool, and then the times 64. So once you're here, move this to the center of the screen. So this is the tool itself. You want to find the Nvidia graphics card, so you can type in N. This will pop up, and then it brings you to the graphics card right here, Nvidia GeForce RTX 2070 Super. One thing you want to check first before you do anything is go into Device Manager. So I'll put this to the side. And then Display Adapters, Properties. So we're looking at PCI Bus 1, Device 0, Function 0. PCI Bus 1, Device 0, Function 0. So it's the right one. Just in case you have two different graphics cards, or if you do this with like USB things, I just recommend only doing it with the graphics card though. So then you're going to hit Advanced, the specified processors right here. Click OK. Set mask. So before you set any mask, it'll be on 0. So like I have let me go into Task Manager here so I can show you guys how to find this. This here. I have 8 cores and 8 processors. So I have no hyperthreading on my CPU. So that means each individual core here has only one. It's only one processor per core. Some people will have 16 cores with 8 processors, which is the hyperthreading. So the way to do that is, it's every 2. So like mine is processor with the 1 core, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's every 2. So like if this was a 8-core 4 processor CPU, this is core 1, hyperthread 1, core 2, hyperthread 2. So when you're doing this, you want to click a CPU that is farther away from this first CPU core. So if you don't have hyperthreading, I just recommend putting it on like CPU 3 or CPU 4. It doesn't matter. This is actually CPU 4, that's 5. But if you have hyperthreading, you have to click the one below it, so you have the core and the hyperthreading. So like if this was a 4-core, or if this was a 4 processor, 8 cores, you would need to have this one clicked and this one. I'm sorry, this one and this one, and it would be CPU. It'd be core and hyperthread, so core and hyperthread. So you could also do it like this. You just want to make sure that you have the same core and the same hyperthread with it. And then you would click OK. I'm not going to do it right now because it restarts your graphics driver, which will crash OBS. But then it will set the latency to go through the other CPU core. So then when you go back into latency monitor, click on this. I'm just going to play it for a second and then stop it so you can see. This interrupt cycle time won't be as high, and this CPU 3 or whatever one you put the Nvidia graphics card on will be higher than all these other cores. It just helps spread out the the amount of information that's going through your CPU. Like you don't need to change this, but when you're talking about gaming and every millisecond counts, this is something that really helps to decrease your latency on your computer. So after you do that, it will restart your graphics card. Then you're all set there. So now we're going to go into step 2, which we want to do MSI mode utility version 2. So I have that on my computer already. Running as administrator. So the only time you ever want to click the MSI mode right here, this checkbox, which is what we're going to do, is if it says you're under supported modes, MSI. So my Nvidia graphics RTX 27 Super, we're going to click this. We're going to go to high priority and click apply. That's simple, easy enough. On to the next step. I'm trying to keep this short and sweet for you guys. I know I hated watching long YouTube videos to figure all this out. So the next step, we're going to download Quick CPU. Again, I already have it on my computer. Open up Quick CPU. And now if you don't have the Ultimate Performance Power Plan already in your settings, so to find that is System, Power and Sleep, Additional Power Settings. If it's not here or under the Show Additional Power Plans here, I'll show you how to add it really quick. It is in the notepad, which I forgot to add back apparently. So 1 second, let me add that mid video here. So now that that's in here, it's this top one right here, Power CFG Duplicate Scheme. So all you do is you copy this, Control C, right click on the Windows, Window Powershell Admin, yes, Control V, and then hit enter, and it will put it in your system for you. I'm not sure, I don't believe you have to restart your PC after that, but if it doesn't pop up, then I would. So then when you're in Quick CPU here, make sure you're under the performance plan that you're going to be using, so Ultimate Performance for me. Put the core parking index all the way to 100, turbo boost all the way to 100, and frequency scaling all the way to 100. Click apply, and you're done. Simple as that, easy, boom. Now your CPU is going to run at its full power when you're gaming. The next step we're doing is part control. So again, click on it, download. Didn't want to do this, but I guess I'm reinstalling it again. So that's the process of installing it. Very simple. So you're going to go to Ultimate Performance Plan, the one that you're using again. Disabled, 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 disabled. All do 100%. Click Apply. Click OK. Boom. All set to go. Okay, so our next step here is to go into the Power Settings Explorer.exe here. I have it on my desktop right here. Make that a little smaller. Okay, so what this does is add settings to the power settings that we were just in. So we want to uncheck the boxes so it pops up processor idle demote threshold, uncheck that, and processor idle promote threshold, uncheck that, and then you're good. Then we're going to go back into settings, settings, power and sleep, additional power settings, change plan settings under the ultimate performance mode, change advanced power settings. Now on this little thing right here, processor power management, processor idle demote threshold 100%, promote threshold 100%, minimum processor state 100%, system cooling policy active, and maximum 100%. Click apply and click OK. Good to go. On to the next step. So now we have to download these two things right here, which is DirectX 12 Updater. So when you download that, you get this app right here. Accept the agreement. Next. Don't install the Bing bar. And then it will say that you're good or you need something to install. Then we're going to do the file right here, the VC Redist, which is the VCC plus redistributables. Let me find where I had that in my computer so I don't have to download it again. Downloads. This right here. And then you'll run the setup. Obviously, I've already have it on my computer. And the way to check if you don't want to do this step is to go to type in apps, or sorry, add or remove programs, and then these right here, the Visual C++, sorry. And you want to make sure you have the 2015 to 2019. I was running into some problems, and this actually fixed a lot of like stuttering I was getting in Fortnite. And after I downloaded the file, it actually runs a lot smoother now. So we've done that step. If you don't have timer resolution already, I highly recommend it. I put the link in here as well. But now we just have a few more steps to go. We're going to run Fortnite at a high priority. So download that. I already have it downloaded right here. Run. Yes. If you want to continue, click yes. I don't want to do it again because I've already ran it multiple times. So that makes sure Fortnite's always running at a high priority in the when you load it up, and you don't have to worry about it because the registry does it for you. So now we're on to our last steps here. We're going into the notepad file that I have here, the low latency commands. We're going to run Windows PowerShell admin again, click yes, and then copy and paste all three of these into here. Click enter after you do it. Then we're going to go into device manager, which I'm right clicking on the Windows here, or you can type it in. System devices right there. Scroll down, high precision event timer. Right click and click disable device if it's enabled. If you have it disabled, make sure you do not enable it. It will cause stuttering. So this is the last step before restarting your PC, And then after you guys restart, I do have a few more steps that actually help a ton with Fortnite specifically to reduce input delay. So I'll see you guys right back after you restart. Okay, so we've all restarted our computers. Now we're gonna act like we're going to play Fortnite. So the easiest way to do this is by creating shortcuts through your computer. So I'm sure you've seen in previous videos when people go %temp% and you get this folder here. If you go back one and click on local, you can right click on temp, create a shortcut. It'll create a shortcut in this file and then drag it to your desktop is the easiest way I've seen to do it. Do the same thing with prefetch. So just type in prefetch, click enter. It'll open up their run file. I guess you could press run first to skip that step. Click continue. Same thing. Click on the windows, right click on it, create a shortcut, then drag it to your desktop. I have all three of them right here. We're going to do the same thing with our last one. With this file right here. I thought they were the same file at first, but if you notice, this is local app data, and this one's Windows temp files. So every time I open up my computer, I open the file, shortcut, I hold down Control, I click A, which highlights everything in the file. I right click, delete, skip anything, skip, skip, skip. Oh, it's stuck because I have the file open here. So now we go into the next folder, delete, prefetch, Control A, right click, delete, skip anything that doesn't delete. Okay, now next step. I know someone actually replied to my last video where I did this, so I'm just going to talk about it a little bit. Type in optimize, defrag, and optimize. So now, so Windows does this with the new solid state drives. This used to be defrag only for if it said media type, it's your HDD drive, your hard drive disk. But the solid state drives, it does something different. You know what trim is with solid state drives? It optimizes the disk and the files in it. So it gets rid of anything that's like a blank file that you can't actually use. So if it says needs optimization, run optimizing and it trims. It doesn't defrag. Now, if you know you have an SSD file, the SSD drive, and it says it's a hard drive, do not do this, and you're gonna have to look up why that's happening. Maybe you need to download the driver software for it. But optimizing this doesn't defrag the SSD, it trims it, and trimming is good for an SSD. Makes the performance run a lot better. So now, before you go into any game, make sure you delete anything that you have running in the background. Timer resolution, before you open Fortnite, put it at maximum 0.5. Now I did the same thing if you've seen from my previous videos. I have the % local app data shortcut here for Fortnite game, and you delete it. If you run G-Sync for it and you have to have it at 237, you don't have to do this every time because that would be annoying because then you would have to back out the second time after you reload in just to lock your FPS at 237. But if you do want the lowest latency, I wouldn't use G-Sync. I know that people say it's so close and you're only talking about milliseconds, but it really does matter, especially if you play on mouse and keyboard. So definitely give it a shot doing it without it. So now that we did that, we can load into Fortnite. So now when you load into Fortnite, you're going to get this screen right here. Click decline, don't click confirm. Battle Royale. Skip, skip, close, never show again. Hit the 3 bars, settings, full screen, 240 FPS, Go to Epic. I leave my view distance on Epic and I turn everything else down. So it's quick right click, motion blur off, FPS on, boom, ready to go. And that's how you get the lowest input lag. I do have a few more secrets that I will share later, but for now, this should extremely help. Let me know if you do have any questions about what I did. If you have any problems with downloading the links or anything, this is my first time with the Google Drive using it that way, so let me know and make sure that works. If this video does get 200 likes again, I will do a ping reduction video for Chapter 2, Season 3. Just some things I figured out that help the game run better with consistently getting lower ping instead of getting spikes, which I've always had problems with. I would get like ping spikes up to like 10 more in games, and it lowered my ping by like 5 by doing this. So that's a huge difference. Thank you for watching again. Thank you for all your support. Please subscribe. It really helps me out. And let me know in the comments if this does help you. It makes me feel a lot better when these videos actually help people. Thank you so much. Peace out.